Well, though it received mixed reviews on its release, Singin' in the Rain is considered to be one of the greatest musicals ever made. And recently, film critic Chuck Koplinski interviewed Gene Kelly's widow, Patricia, to discuss the making of the movie and its legacy.
You know, one of the things I was looking at this new video package that's coming out. It looks beautiful. Gosh, it looks great. It's never looked better. But there's a documentary on that package, and more than one person in that documentary mentions how contemporary the film still is. This thing just doesn't age at all. Was there any sense that, did he have any sense with Mr. Donnan that they were making something special?
No, because remember, you didn't have VHS and you didn't have Blu-ray and you didn't have 4K and you were basically Gene didn't like the notion of the magic factory. He said it wasn't a factory. You weren't just churning stuff out, but they were steadily making movies and beautiful, magical movies. So, but he never really had a sense that people would be watching these in 70 years. But Singin' in the Rain, he just knew that whenever he came on a stage, that there's one thing they'd be playing, and it was always kind of sweet, kind of cute that they'd all think it was kind of a unique way to introduce him, which was kind of funny. Mr. Kelly, we've got a great idea. We're going to come on and we're going to play Singin' in the Rain.
And he said, no one's ever done that before, right?
Exactly.
You know, most of the talk about Gene Kelly is about his dancing prowess, and rarely do we talk about his role as a director. And I know that he and Stanley Donen, they came off America in Paris. They went into this. How do you approach this? How did they approach this? Was there a division of work? Did they collaborate throughout? I mean, it would seem to me that would be kind of a difficult thing to do.
Well, no, not a difficult thing, and actually they did not work together on American in Paris.
I'm sorry.
That was, Stanley was not involved with that at all. That was Gene and Vincent Minnelli, and Gene, that was a division of labor. That was a good example of division of labor is that Vincent Minnelli is the director, but Gene directed the American in Paris ballet and choreographed the whole movie and choreographed that. So they started on The Town in 1949, and Gene is the first name director, which is important, and what IMDb refuses to acknowledge. They will not. They will only put them alphabetically, which means that it always comes out as Stanley Donen Singin' in the Rain, which is not correct. But it is Gene is directing and choreographing. Stanley was not a choreographer. He really, and a lot of people, not just Gene, will testify that he was not a choreographer, but he had a very astute knowledge of music and the movement of a camera. And so Gene, in order to be in the movie, needed reliable people behind the camera who could see that Gene hit his marks and that the camera hit its marks. And because Gene had coordinated everything to musical beats, he needed someone who understood music to be behind the camera, because the camera operator didn't know musical beats. And so they would literally tap. So you had Carol Haney, Jeannie Coyne, and Stanley Donen as the assistants behind, and then ultimately Gene asked Stanley if Gene felt that because of the central role that Stanley played, that Gene could not appear in front of the camera without these people behind. He was the one who asked to give Stanley the co-directing and but that it is a distinction with the responsibilities in the name first. You've got everybody with different labor, but I really appreciate your acknowledging Gene's directing, because it was as a director and choreographer how he wished to be remembered, and most people just don't even include him on those lists.
Now, he had a reputation as being quite a taskmaster as a director. Was that reputation deserved, or was it
you picked up that word off of the internet. You know, you got, well, taskmaster is such a weird word. I mean, it's such a strange word. I mean, he also got, during his lifetime, they had started the perfectionist drive. Such a perfectionist, like it was a bad thing. And he said, since when is bad thing, and he said, I don't know a professional who is not a perfectionist. And that was, and then his joke line was that, do you go to the surgeon, do you ask for the sloppy guy? And I think if you talk to, it depends if the person you ask, because a dancer and choreographer, taskmaster doesn't even, in order to make this work, Gene had to hit his marks, the camera had to hit its marks, everything had to hit, otherwise it had to be done again. And as a kid growing up in the Depression in Pittsburgh, Gene did not waste money. He certainly didn't waste somebody else's money, and he didn't waste time. You show up, you know your lines, you hit your marks, and you get out of there. I interviewed the musicians, I interviewed the assistants, I interviewed many of the sound engineers and people after Gene died. I got a lot of mail from a lot of people who are on there. And so this whole notion, I heard instead of taskmaster, I heard generosity. In fact, I just had lunch with George Shakiris the other day.
Oh, geez.
He's 90, and he's in Brigadoon, and you may not recognize him, but he did the sword dance in Brigadoon, and which was unfortunately cut ultimately. But he said that Gene was so concerned about their shin splints, and he said their legs hurt like hell, and he said Gene was bringing him orange juice, and he said that the care and kindness and generosity as a choreographer was incredible. I think that's kind of what we have to. I mean, was he tough? Yeah, but I mean, he was dedicated to the craft, and he was as hard on himself as he was hard on anybody else. This wasn't about being mean to people. This was about getting results, but there was a real decency involved in that.
Miss Kelly, thank you so much. This
Patricia.
was really, Patricia, this was a thrill for me. I know this movie is never, ever going to fade away. And thank you so much for talking to me today.
Well, thank you. I used to Berry Library, and I just spoke there a couple years ago, so I'll be back, and maybe we can say hello then.
I would love that. I'll look forward to it. Take care.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.